You're listening to Factual America. Kirby, maybe before we go any further, you can give everyone a little bit of synopsis about what the docuseries is about.
It focuses on the allegation that Dylan Farrow made against Woody Allen about child abuse. And that happened in 1992. And then, we follow the story. Well, we start actually the story even before that, where how, as you said, Mia Farrow and Woody Allen, were collaborators for 13 years. So we begin with, how they met. So it's about a 40 or 50 year story here. And we look at all aspects of it from the personal, from the relationship. And then, of course, we dig deep into the case, because one of the things that's really struck us about this is the way it was presented when it first came forward in 1992 and 93 was really only a small part of the story. And it was a really skewed part of the story, skewed toward Woody Allen. And we were able to get, tens of thousands of pages of documents that were not available to the public and really look at this much more comprehensively. And then after that, it follows how over the next 30 years this played out in the public, because keep in mind that this case was we think it's the most high profile incest case to ever, be covered in the United States, and how the press reacted and how the public learned from this affected the way this country looked at, issues of incest, how the law profession did, how journalism covered it for decades.
And still does to this day. I mean, this case became sort of a template for the ways in which family courts work in the U.S. ever since.
Yeah.
And that's what's really significant and important about us. Yeah. So, or to say it just in a slightly different way and more compact, this is a in-depth investigation into the allegations that were made by Dylan Farrow against her father, Woody Allen. And it's the first real no stone unturned look at the facts and the evidence, which until now we didn't know and the public really wasn't privy to. And how does that change things and affect and influence our perspective on what happened and how it influenced the course of history? And
you'll appreciate the old print journalist in me will just come out and say that Woody Allen has refuted these allegations, just so we're clear with everyone. But Amy, why make this film now?
Why not?
Yeah, exactly. But I love
that question. Well, I think, it's so funny because, as I said, this wasn't just something that happened in the past. This is something that happened in the past and has palpable, real consequences today. I think that people don't know that or understand that. And so I'll repeat it and say that the strategy that Woody Allen used to defend himself against these allegations was to invert the narrative, was to say, it's not me. I didn't do this. I am actually the victim. And that strategy became what, to this day, fathers, when they are accused of abuse, that's their first go-to, was to say, it's not me, it's the mother, she's crazy. There's a term that someone coined called DARVO for this, which is deny, attack, reverse, victim, and offender. DARVO. You just simply flip the tables. And he did that so well and so effectively that this story was pretty much buried and everybody thought they knew it. And, we don't really know. And we love Woody and she's probably crazy. It kind of stuck. And so that's why we felt it was important, and isn't a story in the past. It's a story it reverberates right now and has even more urgency to really look at, evaluate, and learn from.
Okay. I think that's a good point. Just to interject personally, as someone who was living in the U.S. East Coast at that time, if anything, if I was trying to think back, what would I was pretty young, but what do I remember that? And it's more, if nothing else, you thought it was this horrible custody battle, basically, this divorce, not a real divorce because I've never married, but this messy breakup that was playing out in front of our eyes. And that's just kind of how I think some of us may have simply remembered it and then boxed it and shelved it, I guess, all these years.
Exactly, but that wasn't accidental. That was part of the strategy, and we all fell for it, as we show in the series, And actually, to go back to the title, Allen v. Farrow, that in itself encapsulates the whole dilemma, right? We thought that this was about it erases and effaces that this was actually about a child crying out about abuse, and suddenly it becomes about a father saying that, you know, he's being falsely accused. And that was the public narrative that ran, and everyone had traction, and still did, and that you were susceptible to, and I was, you know, of that age too.